MeMonster.
Chapter 116, Mission Type, Exploration. So far, everything was going smoothly. However, the main objective was unclear, and there was an additional condition, the survival of the NPC. It felt like a typical mission, yet something about it was strangely twisted. I brought my hand up to my ear. It's Han from the first party. I hear you. Edis, did you check the mission window? It should have just popped up. I did. It's an exploration with an escort objective. We've already secured the target. No need to search. Inform the other parties and join us immediately. Understood. The communication ended. I brushed the sand off my shoulder and continued walking. The temple, obscured by dust, was getting closer. It's so quiet. It had been 10 minutes since we were deployed for this mission. Usually, something unexpected would have happened by now, but the city remained eerily silent. There was no sign of the enemy. This is getting annoying, Aloka muttered, fluttering her sleeves with an uncomfortable expression. Sand grains fell from inside. Just hold on a bit, I mumbled, glancing behind me. Pryasis was walking silently. Do you have the exact location of the key? Is that building the right one? I pointed to the building ahead, shrouded in dust. The outline of the building wavered at the tip of my finger. Pryasis focused her gaze and then spoke. Yes, that's the one. The key is inside. We're on the right track, I nodded. The unique feature of this city was that building with a goddess statue attached to the top. It meant the building had some special role. I asked, any other memories? Monsters or traps? Anything? Sorry, nothing else comes to mind. I fell silent. It seemed there was no more information to get from Pryasis. The rest would have to be discovered ourselves. As the path widened, we approached the courtyard. The temple was right in front of us. It must have been a magnificent building once, but now, covered in sand and weathered, its original grandeur was hard to discern. The building was in ruins. Han! I looked to my side. Edis was from the western passage of the square. Behind her, members of the second party were visible. There were no signs of battle, though the 3 new recruits were tense. Other parties started joining one by one. The third party from the north gate, the fourth party, and the fifth party from the west gate. A total of 25 people. No one had failed the mission so far. I led Pryasis to the front of the temple. All the party leaders gathered. 4 pairs of eyes focused on us. Allow me to introduce. This is the escort target for this mission. Nice to meet you, heroes. I am Pryasis Alragna. Pryasis stepped forward hesitantly. Raymond's eyebrows shot up. When you say Alragna, you don't mean the Alragna of the imperial family, do you? Well, we can discuss that later. I asked the other parties what they had observed. Their answers were consistent, a sand-covered, weathered city with no other unusual features. Is that temple the only thing here? I looked up at the building in front. Columns lined the stairs on both sides. Beyond them, a massive marble door was visible. Everyone's attention turned to the door. It seems to be in there. I agree. Yes. I spoke up. First party will enter first. The rest of you wait outside the temple. Are you sure? We don't know what might come out. We'll contact you immediately. There could be something happening outside as well. We set up a boundary zone between the parties and then dispersed. Except for the first party, which was infiltrating, the rest of the parties took charge of the east, west, south, and north, respectively. Nerissa had already returned. I led the members of the first party and approached the temple. Our formation was a circle with Pryasis and Aloka in the center. There don't seem to be any traps, Nerissa said, who had been examining the door. I nodded and pushed open the door. Creak. With an old sound, the temple revealed its interior. Sand trickled down from the ceiling's cracks. There, that's it, Pryasis pointed to the altar. On a small square altar, a small object was floating and emitting light. A dagger? It was embedded in a golden scabbard with intricate patterns engraved on it. Priasis approached as if entranced. We followed. It's strange. There's still no sign of enemies. They practically left it here for us to take. I chuckled. It wasn't a sinister maze, and there were no giant monsters in sight. Our target was right in front of us as soon as we entered. If we take that, is it over? It seems too simple, doesn't it? Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Priasis reached out for the dagger on the altar. I put my hand on the scabbard, ready to draw it at any moment. And then, first objective achieved. Key of the void obtained. Priasis gripped the dagger. Simultaneously, the light on the altar disappeared. What is it? Nothing happened. Thunk! The entire temple shook violently. Warning! It seems like it's happening, Han. What is it? That, just come out for now. I disconnected the communication. Priasis, are you okay? I'm fine, no problems at all. I can move. We're getting out of here. Thunk! Once again, sand fell heavily from the ceiling. I pushed open the door. We immediately exited the temple. Goo 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 goo. The ground beneath our feet shook violently. Looks like an earthquake. I know. I surveyed the square. It was clear at a glance that something had happened. The sandstorm. Just 5 minutes ago, the entire city was engulfed in a sandstorm. But now, it had disappeared, under the scorching sun with heat radiating down. And then, coo 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 coo, the ground began to shake violently from side to side. Priasis, who had lost her footing, was caught by Jenna. Be careful. Thank you. Oppa, what should we do? The ground continued to shake in a regular rhythm. What can we do? Get out of here. Click, krillik, krillik, mechanical sounds echoed under our feet. What's that sound? I had no time to think. I sprinted down the street. Other parties followed closely behind. I turned at an intersection. The vibrations continued. Debris from the sand-covered buildings scattered in all directions. Crash! A crumbling pillar collapsed in front of me. The entire city was crumbling. What the heck is this? I'm not your nanny. Each time it shook, buildings toppled like dominoes. Behind! Behind! Look at that! Eloka screamed, her voice almost a shriek. It's really happening, Velkus chuckled. The height was about 20 meters, and the end was nowhere to be seen. A colossal wave of sand was engulfing everything. Oh, don't bark. We don't want to hear it.
The first party will take the lead. Follow me. The sandstorm, as if to obscure the sky, drew closer. Shadows fell on the street. Coo goo 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 goom. The ground shook violently. Debris from the buildings covered the area on both sides. I ran forward. The collapsed roof of a building hit the spot where I had just been standing. Ugh. Priasis stumbled, missing a step. Jenna, take care of the kid. Don't leave her even if you die. Got it. The rest keep running. It's 5 minutes to the exit, Nerissa said, lightly jumping over the debris, blocking the path ahead. I kicked off the wall and leapt over it. Jenna supported Priasis and followed. Velkist lifted Aloka, who was frantically running ahead. Girardi, 3 stars, has returned to the goddess's embrace. Her determination will forever be remembered. Is she dead already? I turned left at the intersection, then right again. The vibrations were becoming increasingly intense. Looking back, some of the heroes with poor balance were stumbling. Beyond them, a lifeless body clung to the ground like gum. It seemed to be the deceased woman, maybe Girardi. Click. Those with spare energy support those who are struggling. It'll be troublesome if anyone dies here. I've already told you. How long to the exit? Only 1 minute. I ended the communication. I continued forward, leaping over obstacles and pushing through them. The door leading outside was getting closer. It's fortunate there are no monsters. In that case, the difficulty must have doubled. Ignoring the vibrations, I moved. My sense of balance had already transcended human limits. Strong tremors couldn't knock me over. I passed by collapsing pillars on both sides. I stepped onto the desert outside the city. Don't stop even if you're outside the city. Keep moving. I glanced back briefly. Members of the raid were steadily exiting the city. The massive sand wave grazed the edge of their group. In an instant, the entire city was engulfed in sand. We've escaped for now. How far do we need to go? Until I say stop, but you can slow down. I slowed my pace. My clothes billowed and sand poured off my body. Is this because of me? Kriasis asked in a stiff voice. Don't worry about it. We'll tire each other out if we start analyzing everything. I took out a water pouch and took a sip. No one was injured. The other members of the first party were fine. Kriasis was unharmed. Somehow we had escaped the city. The vibrations grew distant. After getting some distance from the city, I stopped. I immediately sent a stop signal through the communication. The movement of the entire raid came to a halt. Some heroes slumped down exhausted. Well, we made it. It was a bit risky, though, Jenna said, wiping sweat from her forehead. I looked at the city. Its shape was unrecognizable. It had become a mixture of sand and debris. However, the vibrations were still ongoing. Oppa, why are you looking at it like that? What does it look like to you? I pointed at the city. The whole city was quaking. So an earthquake? Is there even an earthquake like this? I swallowed a bitter laugh. He really got me. I looked around. Some of them had relieved expressions, as if their mission had been accomplished. I put my hand on my ear and opened a channel. All units, get ready. The mission isn't over. That's funny. This is just the beginning. Small waves appeared across the whole desert. Every grain of sand beneath our feet trembled. Warning, warning, warning. Grab your weapons. Be prepared. What on earth? The ground beneath us shook heavily. Now loading. Constructing the field. Whoosh! A wall of flames rose on the outskirts of the desert. The flames formed a wide circle, enclosing us. And then, thud. I immediately looked at the city. Large and small buildings were bouncing like toys from tens to hundreds of meters. Then sand rose like a mountain. 10 meters, 50 meters, 100 meters. I stopped measuring at 300 meters. One thing was certain. A gigantic monster. Not just a few meters or tens of meters. I tried to estimate its size again. It was huge, incredibly huge. Although the creature and I were nearly 100 meters apart, I could barely see its end without bending my neck. Coo-goo-goo-goo-goom. An object presumed to be one of its legs moved. The estimated radius of one leg was over tens of meters. It was the size of a large building. A red light flashed from the creature's head. Ancient stone statue. Level unknown. I chuckled and said, "Do you usually dream of such things?" "Oh, no, I've never seen anything like this in my dreams." Mission type has changed. Mission type, subjugation. Objective, exterminate the enemy. Special objective, survival of NPC Priasis Alragna.
Chapter 117. The gigantic stone statue raised 1 foot. Thud. The ground trembled lightly. "What is that?" A muttered exclamation mixed with someone's sigh. Gilbert, 3 stars, falls into terror. All stats decrease by 30%. "Do they expect us to face that thing? It must be a joke." The voice trembled as it spoke. I looked to the side. The face of the man, pale and blue, was twitching. This goes beyond common sense. It's not a monster. Are they telling us to kill that kind of monster? It's ridiculous." Veden, 3 stars, falls into terror. Status abnormality messages appeared one after another. Most of them were members of the newly participating 4th and 5th parties. Fear welled up in their eyes. Kill it? Isn't the mission to run away? An ant can't catch a giant just because it has tweezers. This is ridiculous. Quite noisy, barking dogs. Velkus sneered at them. "What did you say?" "Oh, you're right. It's disrespectful to compare you to a dog. A bug would be more appropriate." "This is insane! Let's finish them off right now." "Stop it." I blocked Velkus, who was about to draw his sword. Velkus withdrew, his expression filled with contempt. They all looked at me, helpless. "Hun, what should we do? How can we escape?" "Don't run.
Can't you see the mission window? We can't leave until we kill that thing. Gilbert, 3 stars, falls into panic. All stats decrease by 50%. Stop talking nonsense. Bring down that giant? Is it possible? If you're talking nonsense... I reached for my belt. The dagger blade emerged from its sheath and flew at him, emitting a white light. Blood gushed from the pierced man's shoulder. Gilbert, who had been staring at the wound, finally spoke. Ah! Gilbert, 3 stars, is in a bleeding state. Health decreases at regular intervals. Why did you stop me if you were going to do this? I'm not trying to kill him. Gilbert sat on the ground screaming. This guy was the leader of the 5th party. Pathetic. I turned to the young man who had been quietly swallowing behind Gilbert. What's your name? I'm Lichen Snail, sure. From now on, you're in charge of the 5th party. Captain Han, 3 stars, proposes a change of party leader. 5th party, Gilbert, 3 stars, to Lichen, 3 stars. Accept. Yes. A message soon appeared announcing the change of leader. Ignoring Gilbert, who was wailing on the ground, I said, "Make a choice. Just die or fight to survive. But no buts. If you're called out to this place, then you have to kill any enemy that comes out. It doesn't matter who or what it is. If you want to live, move." Swoosh! I drew my sword. Kukung! The statue was now stepping with its other foot. Its enormous shadow loomed nearby. Edis, on the right, drew for twin swords. 2nd party. Roderick pulled out a spear from his back. Then 3 others also drew their weapons. It's going to be quite interesting. Kishasha's nails sharpened. The 3 parties took up battle stances side by side. It looks like we have another tough battle ahead of us. We can do it. We've come this far. We'll keep going. Finally, the members of the 1st party drew their weapons. We can fight too. Lichen brandished his sword. Sweat dripped from their foreheads, but there was no sign of fear. Except for one, the fear of the other heroes had been lifted. We'd completed the first step somehow. The first thing to be wary of when facing a colossal monster is that your allies can crumble under its overwhelming presence. It may seem impossible to defeat at first, but it can be done. No matter how desperate the situation, there's always a way. This law needed to be instilled in the heroes. I drew my sword while glancing to the side. Priasis was looking at the giant with a tense expression. Can we really bring it down? You'll find out when we try. Kukung. The creature took its 3rd step, and the ground shook again. Ryman arched his eyebrows and exclaimed, "What should I do? Please tell me something." For now, hold on until we find a way. Can't we just run away from the monster? I shook my head. Then, krelala. A faint howling sound was heard in the wind. Monster Wave. Round 1. 31 level 23 lizardmen, 4 level 25 lizardmen riders, and 2 level 26 lizardmen sorcerers. Outside the desert, lizardmen appeared beyond the flames. They bared their tongues and charged at us, their eyes glimming red. Pay attention. I heard someone swallowing. 2nd party, take the front. 4th and 5th parties stay in the back. We protect the escort target. We also try to find a way to defeat the stone statue. You take care of the lizardmen. Make sure they don't reach the 1st party. The stone statue, if you just keep your distance from it, you won't be attacked. The giant took his 5th step. As the distance closed, it became clear who it was targeting. Priasis. It had its sights on the owner of the key. Its direction matched Priasis. It's easy to recognize. Monster Wave. Round 2. 53 level 23 lizardmen, 10 level 25 lizardmen riders, and 2 level 26 lizardmen shamans. This time from the west. The lizardmen horde pierced through the flames and approached us. They immediately began their assault. We'll handle those guys. Kishasha burst into hearty laughter, and then bowed her body. The members of the 3rd party took the same stance. Pa-pa-pa. 5 of them ran across the sand dunes, tearing their arms and legs. In an instant, they were far away. We agreed on not interfering with the 3rd party. They would perform their role. I gripped my sword tightly and said, "Let's begin." Kia! The 4th and 5th parties fell back. 2nd party, led by Edis, advanced. Form a line. Arrows shot out from Edis's short bow.
The leading lizardman riding a giant lizard was knocked off course. However, they didn't falter, their red eyes glimmering as they continued their charge. And they collided head-on with the second party. The clash of metal and the screams of lizardmen filled the air. "They're coming here too! Get ready!" Lycan drew his great sword. Monster Wave. Round 3. 22 level 23 lizardmen, 3 level 25 lizardmen riders, and 1 level 26 lizardman shaman. This time from the south. The monster horde pierced through the flames and approached. They immediately began their assault. "We'll move too."
How do you plan to do that? We'll bait the creature's attacks and find an opening. The surroundings grew darker. The giant's massive body blocked out the sunlight. Not far away, one of its massive legs creaked. I brought my hand to my ear. A click. "Don't get close to us. Keep your distance. We might get crushed if we get too close." "All right. Understood." "Yes." The morale of the attack team is high. "Kid, don't lose focus." "Oh, got it." Clunk. The statue came to a stop. Kick-gig-gig-gig. The creature's shoulder and right arm moved. Slowly, it extended backward. The length seemed to be hundreds of meters. The large shadow of its arm was cast over the entire field. And then, it's coming. Kick-gig-gig. Its fist began to descend. There was no need to see the target. "Priasis!" "Yes?" "Run!" The size of the fist easily exceeded the size of a sports field. Priasis ran, waving her clothes. She had plenty of room. The fist was huge, but it wasn't fast. It could be easily avoided. The problem was... Kya! A lizard man leaped over a sand dune. He rolled halfway and swung his sword. Immediately, Velkis leaped forward. With a swift movement, his sword tore the lizard man apart, splitting it in two. "Grah! Kill him! Kill him!" This time, 5 lizardmen appeared. "Sorry, there are too many of them." Edis's desperate voice echoed in my ear. "It's okay, focus on your party. I expected this much." Squish. One of them fired an arrow. Kang. I deflected it with the steel bracer on my elbow. At the same time, I threw a dagger. The lizard man with the blade in its eye immediately screamed. They can't block them all. The field was too wide. 15 people couldn't cover all directions. Some would break through our defenses or come around. Their goal was the same as the statues: the extermination of the key's owner. "First party, clear the way." "Got it." Jenna pulled out her bow with lightning speed. Pap, 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 pap. 4 lizard men that were charging were sent rolling down the hill. Blood oozed from where the arrows had pierced. Monster Wave. Round 4. 18 level 23 lizardmen. 2 level 25 lizardmen riders. Monster Wave. Round 5. 42 level 23 lizardmen. 5 level 25 lizardmen riders. And 2 level 26 lizardmen shamans. A lizard man from the side thrust his spear. I swung my sword long. Swoosh! The blade sliced through everything in its path like tofu. Along with the spear, the upper and lower halves of the lizard man separated. Watery blood scattered in the sand. Then I threw 2 daggers in succession. The daggers pierced the foreheads of 2 more lizard men. Whoosh! A heavy pressure pressed down from above. The fist was getting closer. I retrieved the daggers as I passed by the lizard man's corpse and jumped towards Priasis. I embraced Priasis's waist and leaped straight ahead. Hun! Hold on tight. The shadow on the ground grew darker. Crack, click, quack. The explosion sent the lizard man's body soaring high into the air. It was Aloka's magic. I looked up. Something black was descending from the sky, obscuring the sun. "Get out of the area!" Aloka and Jenna leaped to the left, while Nerissa and Velkis went to the right. With Priasis half lifted, I dashed forward. I put all my strength into my calves. Sand shot up as my body was propelled forward. Crash! The fist slammed down from behind. Priasis, off balance, was about to be thrown off. I firmly held Priasis's hand, burying Bifrost's blade deep into the ground.
What in the world? Priasis' face turned pale. A massive crater appeared where the fist had struck. That's some power. Monster Wave. Round 6. 86 level 23 lizard men. I brushed the sand off my shoulder. Kiki. The statue's fist, buried in the ground, trembled.
Chapter 118. Whenever the stone statue tried to pull out its fist, the ground trembled. Sliding down the sand dune, I glanced at the monster's arm. It looked like a giant bridge sticking vertically out of the ground. Lizardmen, caught in the shock wave, scattered in all directions. Crack. I swung my arm without even looking. Thud. A lizardman took an elbow to the face and tumbled away. I immediately stabbed my sword into his torso. Squelch. Edis's voice rang in my ears. "Han, are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." It was a surprise. Suddenly, the ground started shaking. "We can manage for now, but if they keep coming like this, it'll be tough." It was similar to the 20th floor, endless waves of enemies, and only a limited amount of time we could hold out. We had to find a solution within that time. Gu-gu-goom. Leaving a crater behind, the stone statue's fist began to rise into the air. Is the attack pattern always going to be this simple? Shifting its weight by moving its feet, then hammering its fist down. So far, there had only been 2 actions. The range was enormous, and the lizardmen were constantly interfering, but the chances of getting hit all at once were low. I carefully examined the surface of the rising stone statue. It's made of solid rock, the surface is flat, there aren't many places to grab onto, and nothing else stands out. I looked back. Priasis and the remaining 2 members were standing firm. "We'll move too." We immediately moved away. As we climbed the hill, I saw another party engaged in combat with the lizardmen. They stood shoulder to shoulder, constantly repelling the incoming enemies. "What are we going to do?" "It's either go in or climb up." "What?" "Look over there." I pointed to the other side of the field. Aloka's eyes followed my finger. Her eyes widened in surprise. "The flames are closing in. We can't hold out much longer. This place will soon turn into a sea of fire." "There's only one place to escape." "That's right. But how do we climb up? It doesn't look easy." I looked at the stone statue. Endless in size and height. The fist had risen to several hundred meters by now. "We have to find the right angle." "Angle?" "For now, we need to get away from it." Shakia! Lizardmen who had broken through the defensive line in the distance were charging toward us. I glanced at them, then turned and ran toward the opposite side of the field. "This is Party 1. I have a question. Is there a statue or something like a goddess nearby?" "A goddess statue? What are you talking about? We're more concerned about the fire. Forget about that. Focus on the front." "I don't see anything like a goddess statue." "A goddess statue? Are you talking about the weird-looking female statue with pieces missing? It's buried in the sand next to a pile. That's what you're asking about, right, warrior?" It was Kishasha's communication. I looked to the west of the field. All 3 parties were engaged in a fierce battle with dozens of lizardmen. Their claws flashed, and with each swing of their legs, lizardmen's limbs and torsos were torn apart and flew through the air. I focused my vision. Lizardmen corpses were piled up like small mountains next to it. Good. The stone statue was moving from behind. "From now on, run west into the desert. Run." I put all my strength into my steps. My ankles sunk into the sand, slowing me down. Still, I had to time it somehow. Jenna, running alongside me, spoke. "Oppa, what are you planning? Wouldn't it be better to be near that monster if you want to avoid an attack? It might be easier to escape if we're close." "Just running away won't end it." "What?" "But—" "Nerissa, take care of the kid." "Understood." Nerissa caught up with the lagging Priasis and increased her speed. Velkus lowered his upper body and sprang forward. Lizardmen were attacking from the right. Velkus, who had drawn his sword quickly, cut down 2 lizardmen like sheaves of wheat. I glanced behind me and shouted, "Kid, take out the key." Priasis took out a dagger from her pocket. It didn't shine. It was flashy, but it was still just an ordinary dagger. "That's enough. Hide it for now." The first step was complete. Special items used for pick-me-up missions are usually surrounded by light. The fact that the key didn't react at all meant the key couldn't be used yet. It was time to check the second item. "Kishasha, it's Han."
Yo, I'm in the middle of having fun. The lizardmen scream faintly reached me. Sorry, but I have a request. Would you mind putting your hand on that goddess statue? Sure thing. A moment later, her voice continued. Warrior, it seems like nothing happened. I got it. You guys get away from there. I'm bringing the statue with me. What's your intention? I'm not sure. All right, we'll follow you. I chuckled and ended the communication. Gishasha's group, who had single-handedly slaughtered the lizardmen, was getting further away. Oppa, the monster is coming from behind! I know. The ground shook heavily. It was the aftermath of the monster taking step after step. Swoosh! The field was narrowing due to the flames. Lizardmen kept appearing from nowhere and continued to swarm. Monster Wave, Round 9. 57 Level 23 Lizardmen, 13 Level 25 Lizardmen Riders, and 6 Level 26 Lizardmen Shamans. The numbers are increasing. Fold the defense, join me where I am. I turned my head to the side. An arrow barely grazed my cheek. Splat! Jenna shot. A lizardman with a head pierced fell flat. Alan, 3-star, is in a bleeding state. Health decreases at regular intervals. Gilbert, 3-star, has returned to the goddess's embrace. His valor will be remembered. Bill, also called Han, 3-star, is in a bleeding state. They had already reached their limit. One person died, the other was injured. Gilbert seemed to have lasted longer than expected. Swoosh! The flames accelerated as they spread. The flames stretching tens of meters crackled and spewed fire and smoke. Ping, ping, ping! 3 arrows pierced a lizardman's torso simultaneously. I swung my sword as 3 upper bodies caught in the path of my blade splattered blood and organs into the air. I moved forward again. Beyond that, the goddess statue, half buried in the sand, emitted a faint light. Priasis, just follow me. The rest of you, help the other parties. Are you sure it's okay? It's fine. Velkist and Aloka left. Not far away, the 4th and 5th parties were approaching, followed by hundreds of lizardmen. Jenna and Narissa headed in the direction of the 2nd party. What are you planning to do? Huge monsters are my specialty. I had more than just one bad encounter in Niflheim. Quack! A lizardman with a torn face flew away. I corrected my sword and stopped walking. The statue was right in front of me. Beside me, Priasis was panting heavily. Gig-gig-gig-gig. A distinct mechanical sound echoed. It was the sound of the monster raising its arm. The angle is right. The position is set. I felt the pressure pressing against my body. I raised my head, and the statue's fist was descending, partially obscuring the sky. Swoosh! I took a deep breath and hoisted Priasis up beside me. You need to practice running. She was light. I must be stronger. I put power into my feet and ran forward. Monster Wave, Round 13. 93 Level 23 Lizardmen, 25 Level 25 Lizardman Riders, and 3 Level 26 Lizardman Shamans. How many have piled up? I glanced to the side briefly. We passed hundreds of them. They were swarming like ants. It's getting tight. It didn't seem like a mission designed based on the one-try assumption. There was a way, but it was difficult to figure it out without having your first party wiped out. It was a characteristic of high-difficulty missions. I soared like a diver. The thunderous fist descended again. Boom! I rolled on the floor as I pulled Priasis, who was screaming, close to me. Object effect activated. The power of the goddess envelops the ancient statue. A dazzling light poured out from where the goddess statue had been. The light extended into the air like spider silk and began to climb up the arm of the statue. Jing! The statue froze in the same posture as its arm descended. The angle of the arm embedded in the ground was between 35 and 40 degrees. Not perfect, but sufficient. I opened the channel. We're going up on this thing now. Don't dawdle. We don't have time. I disconnected the communication and gathered the first party. This is quite unusual. Can't you do something simple just once? So you're not going? Velkus smiled and lowered his blood-stained sword. So we're playing horse. The flames had already covered half of the field. The rear lizardmen were engulfed in flames, becoming ashes. The heroes surrounded the statue's fist, blocking the monsters. Who's going first? Ha! Of course it's us! Quack! Kashasha, who had smashed the heads of 3 lizard men in a row, leaped and spun in midair. The agile newcomer landed gracefully on the giant palm. Other beast folk also emerged and climbed up the forearm. Next was the first party. I pushed the ground hard and leaped. After grabbing the protruding rock with my left hand, I leaped again. The sensation of the hard stone floor touched my feet. When I looked back, other members were also climbing up. Kiak! Karur! Karuruk! Hundreds of lizardmen surrounded us and advanced. Inferno, rise! Iloka, standing on the statue, raised her hand. The flames, drawing a circle, blocked the path of the lizardmen. Without hesitation, numerous lizardmen jumped and became ashes. Hurry up! Jenna lowered her posture, assuming a shooting stance. Dozens of arrows rained down on the lizardmen like rain. The flames of the field had now moved within 10 meters. Everyone was climbing the steep cliff frantically. Thank you. Edis reached out, and Edis helped her climb up. All 23 members had boarded. Below, the lizard men engulfed in flames were roaring. Goo! A groaning sound was heard. Thunk! The fixed arm shook greatly. Now what do we do? Edis turned to me. Her forehead was wet with blood and sweat, with hair sticking to it. I told you, we're going up. I pointed to the head of the monster on the other side of the arm. Although giant, its comically shaped face was looking in our direction. The angle of the embedded arm was 35 and 40 degrees. Not perfect, but sufficient. I have to destroy it. Thunk! The ground shook once more. The light surrounding the arm became hazy. Warning! The self-defense system of the statue is activated. Ching! Crick, crick! Suddenly, a ballista popped out from the side of the arm. Krook! Kill the intruders! Lids were opening everywhere, revealing lizardmen. Lizardmen armored with scales were descending in rows. Thud! With a heavy sound, the crossbows fired arrows. I fixed my feet to the ground and gathered strength in my shoulders. Quack! The impact on my arm was strong. The split arrow lost its momentum and fell. Kiak! The lizard man at the forefront roared. I adjusted my sword and said, Did you all see this? This bastard's insides are empty. Let's smash it from the inside. No! What about the ballista? Is that important? Hurry! Finish it before it pulls its arm out. The lid opened right in front of us. I was about to come to meet you. I swept the head of the lizard man, which was about to pop out. Whoosh! With a bone-cracking sound, the lizard man's neck snapped and broke in the opposite direction. The limp body suddenly got sucked in. Just as the square slab was about to close, I slid in and jammed my sword between the gaps. Gang! When I threw the dagger into the hole, a small scream was heard. I kicked the lid up with my heel. A black hole was revealed.
Chapter 119. I looked down the hole. Beyond the ladder, the interior of the stone statue was faintly visible. I'll go first, Kashasha said with a chuckle, approaching the ladder. I took a piece of paper from my pocket and handed it to her. What's this? It's a map of the interior. Use it as a reference. Warrior, you're carrying something interesting. I'll make good use of it, Kashasha replied, accepting the paper without hesitation. From the wall material to the smell and structure, everything matched perfectly. There was no doubt about it. Everyone, get in, including Prayasis. Me too? Prayasis asked. It's safer inside than outside. You'll understand when you see it. Creak. Far away, the lid opened again, and the lizard men appeared. Han, you go first. The order will be from the second party to the fifth party. Carl! A charging lizard man was struck by an arrow and stumbled. With a mournful scream, its shadow disappeared into the flames. The first party won't go in. We'll attack from the outside. Is that okay? I smiled without answering. That was enough for Kashasha to understand. Got it? Nah, I'm looking forward to it. Unique skill, transformation, activate. Kashasha, a 4-star, transformed instantly into a giant tiger and roared. Without hesitation, she bit onto Prayasis and leapt into the hole. At the same time, the members of the third party slid down the ladder. Han, be careful, Edis said as she started descending the ladder after Kashasha. Thwack! The second ballista shot targeted Edis. I gripped my sword with both hands and swung hard.
I briefly lost my balance but managed to deflect the arrow. 37 level 25 lizardmen. Krakarak! The lizardmen drew closer, their eyes gleaming with determination. Iloka sighed. Our party always does the hard work. Why, don't you like it? Just saying. All right, what do we do now? Climb up the arm and go all the way to the head. If you see any suspicious devices, destroy them. Sounds simple enough. Clang. The rear hatch closed. 5 of us remained on the arm. The distinct odor of lizardmen brushed past our noses. I raised my sword to the side. Clear a path. Beep, beep, beep. 3 rapid shots flew at the frontmost monster with dazzling speed. Velkist went left, I went center, and Durisha went right. Our 3 swords gleamed simultaneously. Kia! The pierced and severed lizardmen bled profusely as they fell apart. Ignite! Flames erupted from Iloka's sleeves and shot outward. Explosion! A loud blast followed, and the shattered lizard man's body soared into the air. The flames clung to the stone floor. I kicked the face of a lizard man who was gliding away, sending him crashing into the flames. I'll handle the ballista. Crack! Pieces of the ballista arrow scattered. The 3rd shot. The mechanical contraption continued its automatic reloading. Whoosh, whoosh. A lizard man with feathers on his back began swinging his staff wildly. A red light gathered at the tip, signs of an impending eruption. In an instant, Jenna drew her bow and took aim. The arrow pierced through 2 lizardmen's torsos and struck the mage's forehead behind them. 3 in the front row, 2 in the rear. We advanced in a W formation, clearing the way. Oh, there are a lot of strange devices here. I'll break them all. Bang! The ground shook briefly as something broke. Faint smoke seeped through the cracks of the statue. Warning, the self-defense system of the statue is progressing to level 2. A mechanical device emerged from the arm's side. It had a targeting scope and 5 arrows loaded, a rapid-fire ballista. Iloka! I was prepared for this, Ida said, gesturing to the left. Flames spread rapidly and engulfed the ballista. Explosion! With a loud blast, the shattered machine flew into the air. Nice, Velkist chuckled, swinging his sword. The lizard man caught in the path was torn horizontally. Nearby, Narissa punctured holes in their torsos. I drew my sword in an arc and split a lizard man vertically. Crariato! 41 level 27 lizardmen. Somewhere a passage opened, and more lizardmen appeared, but they were just prey. We killed them and pushed them into corners as we advanced. Push! Iloka clenched her fists. Dozens of lizardmen were pushed back as if struck by an invisible hammer. It was a simple pushing spell, with no killing power, but there was a cliff on the side. Kia! The clustered lizardmen fell into the fiery zone below. After a long climb up the giant's arm, we were already several meters above the ground. Clarique. I forcefully lowered the aiming device of the ballista that was trying to shoot arrows. The cleanly severed front part of the ballista slid down diagonally. Quack! One more! Thick smoke seeped through the cracks. As the gap widened, something huge popped out. Craa! 1 level 23 ogre. It's not your turn to come out. Arrows pierced the same spot in its forehead 3 times in a row. I lowered my waist, put strength in my arms, and swung horizontally. The ogre's thick neck muscles tore apart. Blood spewed profusely. I kicked it, and its rolling head fell downward. We reached the halfway point. The incline of the giant's arm became steeper. The light from the magic circle around the arm was fading. Dukong. The arm of the statue shook again. 13 level 25 lizardmen. Crick. These mobs are endless, Velkist, covered in blood, chuckled. The third... what's this? What's going on? The device escaped upwards. It escaped? I heard mechanical sounds and something rose. It was a giant crystal, shining blue. I chuckled lightly. We'll handle that. Move on. All right. After disconnecting the communication, I shouted, Destroy it! The lizard men surrounded the crystal. However, resistance was futile. Velkist and Narissa, rushing in from both sides, slaughtered 5 instantly. Arrows pierced their crude wooden shields and cut off 2 more. Finally, I rushed in and swung my sword. Quachang! As the thick blade struck, the crystal shattered like glass. Groan! Warning! The self-defense system of the statue advances to stage 3! 100 meters ahead, the face of the statue, standing tall like a building, distorted. White light began to gather in its two eyes. The ancient statue is casting eye beam. Say, what again? I grabbed Aloka's head and pushed it down. At the same time, I pressed my body against the floor. The white beam from the statue's eyes passed over my head. 3 lizardmen hit by the beam vanished into nothingness. All sorts of strange things are coming out, Jenna said in frustration, lying next to me. Bidin, 3 stars, returns to the arms of the goddess. His determination will be remembered forever. Rosa, 2 stars, has fallen into a critical state. Her life is in danger. Messages announcing death and near death appeared one after another. It seems similar down there, too. Hen, there's a strange magic. Is there an eye beam down there, too? An eye beam? Well, whatever it is, tell me what came out. At first, it was a ballista, then a rapid-fire one. This time...
That's enough. I cut off the communication and stood up, sheathing my sword. Protect me. Jenna immediately took aim. We climbed up the slope. Arrows surged toward the 2 lizardmen who rushed in from the sides. They tumbled down with arrows lodged in them. Nerissa, below, finished them off with her rapier. I leapt to the side, gliding past the white beam. I ran again. This time, the beam from the right eye ignited the surface. What are you trying to do? 50 meters. 30 meters. When I reached 20 meters, a lizard man wearing a helmet thrust a spear at me. I dodged, spun my body, wedged the spear into my side, and yanked it away. The lizard man was kicked off the cliff. Zing! The statue's eyes began to flash again. I grabbed the spear with my right hand and threw it. The spear flew, making a whizzing sound, and pierced the statue's eye. The eyes that had emitted light darkened. Oh! It's resolved. Keep going, Velkist said, as he thrust his sword into a lizard man's neck. Where did you learn such skills? Just a little something I picked up, I replied, drawing my sword again. Looking down, the surface seemed distant. We had ascended hundreds of meters into the sky. I shifted my gaze. The magic circles wrapped around the arms were becoming increasingly blurry. Thud, thud, thud. Suddenly, the upper arms shook violently. Iloka, losing her balance, staggered. I rushed to her and grabbed her. Thank you! I almost fell. I don't know what kind of magic that is, but it seems like it won't last long. At least we need to get to the shoulder. I looked up. Around 15 lizard men flickered their eyes. Beyond them there was a railing, a corridor, and a bridge. If we could regain our balance, there would be enough space to move forward. The 4th one, chee, steam erupted unexpectedly. Kiak! The lizard man who emitted steam stumbled and fell. Object effect nullified. The ancient stone statue is free from the power of the goddess. The statue, which had been stuck in the ground, began to lift its fist. The slope between its arm and shoulder was gradually steepening. Brother, it seems like we don't have much time. A lizard man swung a sword at me. I lowered my head to avoid it, then lifted the lizard man with my shoulder and flipped him over. He fell, making a pitiful sound, rolling down under my arm. The incline of the arm rose again. I'll go first, Jenna said, climbing up the steep path as if flying. The dagger in her arm spun quickly, flashing. 2 unlucky lizard men fell, splattering blood. Then Nerissa moved. 7 throwing knives pierced 3 lizard men. They choked and fell with their blood turning purple. Then Jenna and Nerissa climbed onto the statue's shoulder. Groan. The statue groaned. Iloka, Velkist, go. What about you? I'm the last one. A hole opened beside the upper arm, and a lizard man popped out. Just as the lizard man stuck out its tongue, Jenna's arrow pierced its skull. At that moment, Velkist, supporting Iloka, rushed past the lizard man. As the angle of the arm approached 70 degrees, I grabbed a protruding part of the arm and pushed. Giek! The lizard man who tried to swing a sword at me slipped and fell vertically. Nerissa and Jenna reached out and pulled Velkist and Iloka up. My turn now. I started climbing up the arm. The slope reached 80 degrees. I grabbed rocks with my hands and dug my feet in as if climbing a cliff.
When I looked up, Jenna was reaching out from the statue's shoulder. There's no foothold. The area where the shoulder met the arm was flat, and the only option was to jump. I pushed off with all my strength. The moment I tried to grab Jenna's arm, bang! The statue's body shook violently. My arm crossed with Jenna's in midair. Oh no! Oppa! My body started to fall suddenly. Don't fall! My position wasn't good. There was nowhere to grab. My falling speed increased. No way. Not you! I clenched Bifrost in reverse and plunged it into the body. Gig! Blue flame sputtered as the stone and the blade rubbed against each other. I scraped the surface of the statue and slid down, descending about 100 meters. When I reached that point, I drew a dagger with my left hand and I'll strike in one go. The dagger, gleaming in the sun, perfectly pierced a gap in the statue's stone. I twisted the longsword in my right hand into another crack to stop the fall. My falling body came to a stop, suspended in midair with two swords, hundreds of meters above the ground. Down below, a whirlwind of sand and flames swirled fiercely. Click. You've taken a screenshot. The image will be saved in the gallery. Why are you taking a screenshot?
Chapter 120. Oppa! Jenna's voice echoed from afar. I looked up and shouted, "It's okay, I'm not dead. Just wait a moment, I'm coming to rescue you now." "Don't worry, head towards the head area. The crystals from earlier will keep coming out." "But Oppa!" "I've got this." I surveyed the area. My current location was in the middle of the stone giant's side. It's going to be tough. I rummaged through the pouch on my belt with my left hand, took out the cap of the heat-resistant potion and drank it. I also consumed a health potion and discarded the empty bottle. After taking a deep breath, I braced my arms and shoulders. I gained momentum, swinging like on a swing. When I reached the highest point, I let go and leaped. Thud. I managed to land on the external passage along the surface of the abdomen. I reached out towards the sword embedded in the stone giant's side. "Come back." The Bifrost vibrated and was pulled out from the surface. The sword hilt, which had been floating in the air, flew towards me. I straightened the sword and ran towards the passage, which continued to the stairs leading upwards. 5th stage. Zing! I slid down as if on a slide. Hot steam was emitted from the gap just above. I got up and started running again. "Kishasa, how far have we come?" "We've reached a big circular room. There are strange mechanical devices here, and we've encountered golems too. We smashed them, though." I compared the map of the bonus stage and the shape of the stone giant in my head. Our infiltration team's current location seemed to be in the abdomen of the stone giant. "But there's no way up. The stairs keep coming." "We're going up. Destroy everything as we descend." "Sounds good." Suddenly, the wall next to me rotated 180 degrees. Lizard Man Warrior level 30. A lizard man warrior clad in thick scales twitched its tail. "Kirk, human, I, Korta, the top warrior of the lizard men? Get lost." I brushed him aside as I passed. Grrr. The stone giant was moving its arm. Now that the ants had climbed on top, it wanted to deal with them. I continued running up the stairs. "Jenna!" "Oppa, where are you?" "I'm on the way up right now." I heard the sound of swords clashing from the passage on my left. Jenna seemed to be fighting lizard men there. "Be careful of the stone giant's arm." "I know." As the wall rotated again, a lizard man emerged. I reached out with my left fist, struck his face, and pushed him aside. Beyond the falling lizard man, I saw the right arm of the stone giant rising. I stopped running and crouched down, grabbing a protruding part. Thud. The passage shook violently. It seemed that the stone giant had swung its arm downward. "Did you avoid it?" "By the skin of my teeth." The impact had caused part of the passage to collapse. I jumped over the collapsed section and continued forward. From the belly to the chest, from the chest to the shoulder. I jumped over the bent railing twice and passed through 3 ruined sections.
The shoulder of the stone giant came into view. Above it, 4 people were gathered fighting lizardmen. Jenna, who had just cut down one of them with her dagger, looked in my direction. "Oppa!" I leaped over a 1-meter ledge and swung my sword upwards. The upper body of the lizard man was cleanly severed. As I finished, I drew my dagger and thrust it into another lizard man. "It took you long enough. We've been waiting." Velxist kicked aside a lizard man whose side was writhing. Sploosh! The lizard man fell hundreds of meters below. The area around Velxist seemed to have been cleared roughly. "Don't scare us like that. I thought you were dead." "You almost died yourself. Why are you complaining?" "Whatever." On the other side, the stone giant's neck turned with a creak. Its red gaze was fixed on us, its mouth tightly shut, whether out of anger or something else. "What's the next move?" "We're going for its head." "Sounds good." "5th stage, no. It's going up this time too." A large crystal rose from the opposite shoulder. It was 100 meters away. I glanced at Iloka. "Leave it to me." Iloka spun around once and then clasped her hands together. Threads of magic began to weave. Warning: the stone giant's self-defense system is now at level 4. A large object resembling a tube rose near the stone giant's neck, and the entrance opened. X-Magic Golem level 35. Humanoid, about 2 meters in size. A sturdy rocky body with gears and mechanical devices peeking through the gaps. Its pair of lenses focused on our direction. What's that thing again? What else could it be? Our prey. Thung, 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 thung. The creature charged towards us. The ancient stone giant is casting a beam from the mouth. The stone giant's mouth opened slightly. Zing! A blue light began to gather. Its target was Iloka, who was casting a spell. "Just cancel the spell! Don't interrupt me!" There was no time to waste. I had to enter the upper body of the stone giant as quickly as possible. Clang! Blades protruded from both of the magic golem's hands. I stepped forward. The golem crossed his arms, and dozens of blades shot from all directions. I twisted my extended forelimb and swung my sword in a circle. The blades entangled like fish caught in the net. Skuck! Clang! As I swung forcefully, the blades broke simultaneously. Tuduk! I turned my left hand into a hook and inserted it into the golem's joint gap. I knew the position. I ripped out the red wires. On the opposite side were blue wires. Below the abdomen, a gear shaped like a clock. I clenched my fist. The machine components hanging loosely fell off one by one. Zing! The golem came to a halt. "It's dangerous! It's charging!" I knocked over the golem that was standing tall. The machinery collapsed. The beam was about to be emitted from the front. The blue light grew stronger. I clenched Bifrost in my right hand. Let's do it. Weapon awakening. Bifrost gains a special power. A radiant dark glow began to swirl around the sword's edge. I held the sword in front of me to shield my body. The stone giant's mouth opened wide, and a massive blue beam shot out. I bent my knees, holding the hilt with both hands. The beam collided head-on with the sword's edge. Everything flashed before my eyes. A heavy impact, as if colliding with a train head-on. Roar! The sound of friction with the ground as my body was pushed back uncontrollably. No matter how much of an oppa you are, that's too reckless. Gee! My body, which had been pushed back, came to a stop. I swung the sword. Tsik! The blue beam that had flown in the opposite direction slammed into the stone giant's mouth. An explosion followed the impact. I relaxed my stance and extended the sword. There was a hole pierced through the stone giant's mouth. Thick smoke billowed out of the hole. "Where do you get that sword? I want one too." "There's only one. Can't help you." "Droste seducio peniterum! Fire away!"
The flames swirling around Iloka's body soared into the air and were launched. The target was the crystal on the opposite side. When the flame turned into a spear, the crystal exploded and oxidized. It was a combination of telekinesis and flame magic. Aloka approached me and lowered her head. You really are reckless. Even 100 lives wouldn't be enough for you. We'll talk later. Run. Through that hole, right? Yes. I kicked aside the remains of the collapsed golem and jumped. The palm behind us was moving towards us like a broom sweeping the floor. Grrr. Thunk, thunk. The shoulders swayed from side to side. It seemed like the creature was shaking its body. Block them. A long tube rose near the neck. 5 level 28 lizard men warriors. Clunk, krug. As soon as they appeared, one of them slipped and fell to the ground. Leave those guys to me. This isn't fun at all. Nerissa and Velkis jumped ahead. Aloka, who was running behind with her dress fluttering, took out a mana potion and drank it. Jenna drew her bow while running. Ping! An arrow shot out and struck one lizardman in the nose. The chambers continued to rise. The surface of the chamber had a gear pattern drawn on it. The chamber's door opened. X-Magic Golem, level 33. This golem was equipped with rapid-fire crossbows on both arms. The crossbow's targeting mechanism turned towards us and began to rotate like a Gatling gun. Krichik! Arrows fired from the long bow pierced through both arms in succession. Jenna, lightning fast, drew her dagger. On the shoulders, the sides, and inside the abdomen, sugak, sugak, sugak. Dismantled wires and mechanical devices sprang out from the golem's body. The golem toppled sideways. Jenna looked at me and grinned. Hee, this is how it's done, right? Stop showing off and run. The stone giant's hand, covering its shoulders, was getting closer, smashing everything in its path. Crack. The last remaining lizardman was taken care of. 2 of them stuck close together. 6th round. Chee. Steam billowed from various parts of the status body. The emission rate had increased significantly. Even a slight touch would turn you into smoked meat. We bypassed the steam rising as we ran. How's it going? Resistance is quite intense, Naha, but we can't stop it. We're taking them all down. Are the escorts unharmed? Of course, you're asking too much. You're about to reach a dead end. Get ready to escape. I've marked a way out. I cut off the communication. I'm going in. Jenna jumped up. Her small body was sucked into the stone giant's neck hole. Next up was Aloka, then Velkist and Nerissa. I looked ahead. With one of its lenses broken and holes in its mouth, the stone giant's face was staring at me. I laughed and raised my middle finger towards it, then jumped, sliding down the corridor like a slide into the darkness. Suddenly, a floating sensation approached. I adjusted my posture and rotated my body. Thud! I landed with a parachute landing technique. A circular room the size of a sports field. Both the walls and floor were made of black metal. Red fluorescent lights were blinking on the ceiling. Blinking, blinking. What are those lights? Just ignore them. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video. Have a suggestion? Let me know in the comments.